Okay, so why do highly skilled teams just fail? It's the central question that is absolutely plaguing project delivery as we look ahead to 2026. This is a hiring shift that most teams feel on a daily basis, but they rarely actually define it. I mean, think about it. Across these massive, large-scale enterprise implementations, from healthcare to SaaS, we are seeing the exact same pattern repeating over and over. These projects aren't failing because the teams lack skill. They've got the talent. So what exactly is going wrong? Well, let's dive into the source material to find out.
Welcome to today's Explainer. I am so incredibly excited to guide you through this fascinating source material. Today, we are exploring a massive structural shift in modern delivery, specifically why the PM/BA hybrid is the absolute most valuable hire for 2026. We're going to look at why this combined role has become a total necessity in these distributed, high-stakes environments, and how it brilliantly bridges the space between understanding a problem and actually executing the solution. Right off the bat, the source material makes a critical observation. Projects usually fail in what we call the gap. That's that extremely costly space between understanding the requirements and the actual execution. Requirements get documented, sure, but they aren't truly understood by the people who are actually building the solution. Delivery is meticulously tracked, but it's totally misaligned from the actual business outcomes. The team is working incredibly hard, just not in the exact same direction. That gap is exactly where the project manager and business analyst hybrid operates. And heading into 2026, it has simply become too expensive to ignore. So here's our roadmap for today. 1, the costly execution gap. 2, real delivery in action. 3, the remote first advantage. 4, claiming versus demonstrating it. And 5, the future belongs here.
Section 1, the costly execution gap. Let's really understand this friction.
The core problem here really comes down to business intent versus execution reality. You know, you can have the most beautifully written documentation in the world, the kind that literally takes months to write, and let's be honest, almost nobody actually reads. But if the execution reality doesn't match that intent, you fail. Traditionally, we separate the requirement gathering from the project execution, but when you do that, business intent gets completely lost in translation. Teams end up delivering super fast, but they just don't deliver the right thing. Moving on to Section 2, real delivery in action. Let's look at some measurable proof. So, how do we actually fix this? Let's move away from the theory and look at hard proof from the source material, specifically a £10 million business-critical healthcare program. The absolute standout metric here is a 40% reduction in delivery timelines. How is that even possible? Well, instead of separating the gathering and the execution, a PM/BA hybrid led the requirement discussions directly with stakeholders, translated those into actionable designs, and then worked closely with the configuration teams. By bridging that intent with reality, they slashed the timeline by 40%. It's a real game changer. But wait, the results go way beyond just speed. In another initiative, this one focused on customer experience and retention, the focus shifted from merely completing the project's scope to actually driving real outcomes. By identifying process inefficiencies and bringing in structured workflow improvements, team productivity surged by a massive 69%. This is exactly what happens when you don't just manage milestones on a calendar, but you actively own the outcomes. And here is the financial kicker of that exact same initiative: $5 million in cost savings through Kaizen-driven improvements. That's huge! Plus, alongside that incredible financial win, their customer satisfaction score jumped from a 6.9 to a 9.6. The source material highlights a really crucial realization here. This level of success simply wasn't achieved by a PM role or a BA role working in isolation. It literally required both lenses acting at the exact same time. Section 3, the remote first advantage. Let's talk about global hiring goals. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter more now than it did, say, 5 years ago? Well, today's enterprise clients are operating everywhere. The UK, the US, Europe, APAC, they are highly distributed, asynchronous environments. And global hiring managers, they are actively optimizing for 3 core things right now: speed, clarity, and accountability. In these global setups, dependency chains can slow everything down to an absolute crawl. If you have to wait 24 hours just for a business analyst in one time zone to hand off a document to a project manager in another, you lose speed entirely. Clarity vanishes, and accountability gets incredibly blurry. When you actually compare a siloed approach to a hybrid approach side by side, the difference is just stark. With silos, you're constantly managing multiple roles and endless handoffs.
It's like a giant game of corporate telephone. But the hybrid approach gives organizations a single owner who deeply understands both the business needs and the delivery constraints. This drastically reduces the back and forth between teams. You get much faster, context-aware decisions and just way better alignment. In high-stakes environments, this single-owner model drastically reduces both risk and cost.
Section 4. Claiming versus demonstrating it. How to actually own the outcomes. Listen, simply having a hybrid title on your resume isn't enough. So what's the critical difference between those who just use the PM/BA title and those who genuinely own the outcomes? The source material outlines 4 very concrete principles. Step 1. Start with the business problem, not the task. Ask yourself, what problem are we actually trying to solve here? Step 2. Stay connected from requirement to delivery. You don't just toss a document over the fence and hope for the best. You stay involved through solution design and execution tracking. This continuous thread is what prevents misinterpretation. Moving on to step 3, which is absolutely essential. Use data to drive decisions. True hybrids rely on objective metrics. We're talking things like productivity improvements, SLA adherence, effort variance, and customer satisfaction. By constantly referencing these specific data points, you totally shift the entire conversation away from subjective opinions and you anchor it firmly to hard, measurable outcomes. And step 4 is arguably the most impactful of the whole bunch. Build systems. Don't just deliver projects. You really have to create structures that continue to deliver value long beyond the project itself. Whether you're creating governance frameworks, setting up escalation models, or building workflow optimizations, a true hybrid ensures the organization is structurally way better off after the project is finished than it was before it even started. And our final stop, Section 5, the future belongs here, end-to-end ownership. This all leads us to exactly why the future of work absolutely requires this structural shift. As organizations become more global and inherently remote first, the cost of misalignment literally goes through the roof. Siloed roles are slow. They create fragmented ownership, which directly creates major risk for the business. The PM/BA hybrid completely neutralizes this. It provides highly aligned end-to-end accountability. The source emphasizes that this isn't just about mashing 2 different roles together to save a salary. It's a fundamental shift toward ultimate ownership. It all boils down to this one core philosophy from the source. Alignment is where real value is created. If we summarize what actually drives consistent success across complex programs, it isn't just managing timelines on a Gantt chart. It isn't just documenting requirements in a spreadsheet. It is ensuring that what is needed, what is built, and what is delivered are relentlessly, perfectly aligned. And that is exactly what the PM/BA hybrid is designed to do. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Does your team just manage tasks, or do they truly own outcomes? As we look toward 2026, take a moment to reflect on your own team's structure and capability. Are you actually set up for true alignment? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking the right questions and keep learning.